Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the Rockman Power Hour. I am joined with my co-host Ryan Stick. Ryan, we're here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which you and I both got to see earlier this week. It's in theaters everywhere today. And there's a lot of things about this movie that are significant, that are monumental, that are culturally important. There's just a lot going on in this, and there's a lot to unpack. So thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoy this little talk of Guardians of the Galaxy. Right out of the gate, we got to thank a couple of people that make this possible. First off, of course, Heartbeat Hot Sauce, the heartbeat of the Rockman Power Hour. Check them out over at heartbeathotsauce.com. This is the pineapple habanero that I've been in love with forever, and it's been on my desk for the longest time. And I think it's like my third bottle that I've gone through in a day.
You seem to really like it. I myself, my favorite is the dill pickle because it just seems to go on everything, and it's also the hot sauce I kind of like lure people into the heartbeat world with.
Yeah, it's like it's the gateway drug to hot sauces, definitely.
There you go.
So
that's what we talk about on this podcast: gateway drugs.
Gateway drugs. Yeah, there's actually a great band called Gateway Drugs. So I can get I have their album here somewhere. Anyways, okay. Use our promo code Rockman20 right down there. You like that sound effect? I know in your mind in editing, you're gonna make it go. Maybe
sure. Well, it's due tomorrow, so we'll see.
And also, thanks to Studio House Designs, I am rocking the Audition shirt. Great Japanese horror movie. If you've never seen that, it's so good. And Ryan, that is the Beetlejuice. I was talking to Cody the other day from Studio House, and he was showing me some of the designs that he has coming down the pipeline for the summer. I think people are going to be blown away. So definitely check out studiohousedesigns.com for all of your t-shirt needs. And before we jump into Guardians of the Galaxy, I just wanted to give this a bit of love because, as you know, I'm a big Superman fan. You are as well. The best Superman ever to do it was Christopher Reeve, in my humble opinion. Maybe it's the age that maybe it's the time that I grew up in. Maybe it's my age, but Christopher Reeve will always be Superman for me. Superman 2 will always be one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. And they've just released the Superman box set on 4K. So I wanted to take a bit of time, small amount of time, just to shed some light on this because I have I had the DVD box set of this. Now this is the Blu-ray box set, and this is signed by Pierre Spengler, who was the producer of the movie. Awesome. My friend Maurice worked on a movie actually with RKSS, and he produced the movie. So he happened to be on set, and he was this older gentleman, and they were talking to him, and they were like, "Didn't you produce Superman, the movie?" He's like, "Yeah, Superman 2. So I got that signed. So I love this set, but this set just became obsolete because of the, and that was not gas that just came out of me. That was the set closing. I love this set. This set became obsolete because the new set has come out. But the one thing about this, if you see the date down on the bottom, it says 1978 to 2006 because it includes the Brandon Routh Superman. Which
that's cool. That's cool.
Right. The new
one have the Donner cut as well.
Has the Donner cut as well.
Cool. That's amazing. It's everything you want.
Well, yeah. This one, if you see the date, 1978 to 1987, this don't talk about no Brandon Routh. They're like, no, not happening. So if you are a completist, both will probably be good. If you're looking for it on 4K, as of now, Superman Returns, I do not believe has been released on 4K, but this is a great set. I just wanted to show you. So you got Superman. You got Superman.
I gotta tell you, man, I kind of want to watch Superman 4 on 4K and just see special effects that look like crap on VHS. Just
micro focus. So you got Superman 2 here. You've got it, and what's nice about this, they've given it its own disc. Superman 2, the Donner cut, Superman 3, and of course your favorite, Quest for Peace.
Hey, Radioactive Power Man, dude.
So go check that out. It is all coming out on May 9th at Warner Brothers. And there's this set that's available. And there's also a Steelbook set that's available from the US, I think, and the UK. So wanted to shine some light on that because it is a significant release in the stuff that we talk about, nerd wise. This is one of the, there's been a few that have come out lately, like the Indiana Jones one in 4K was a big one. This is a big one. Back to the Future a while back, when these big trilogies or these big, sets of those franchises come out, they're significant and they need to be talked about. So go definitely check that out. You can order it wherever you order your films. And I looked at Superman 2 last night. It looks incredible.
Oh yeah.
Looks really, really good in 4K. So there you go.
Especially when he pulls that S out of his chest and it wraps around somebody for some reason.
Listen, say what you will. I went to see Superman the movie in the theaters because they released it for the anniversary with Nathan. We went to a couple weeks back. We went to see it, and it trudges along. Superman 2,
because it was supposed to be one movie. Superman 1 and 2 were one movie,
right?
But then there was so much script. They're like, well, let's make it into 2 movies.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, if they made like a Lord of the Rings extended super freaking huge cut of Superman 1 and 2 as one story, it would be action paced like hell. But at the same time, I'm still really glad they established and took some time to really make you fall in love with Lois Lane, Clark Kent as human beings, and not just at that point they're trying to make a movie that just wasn't a cartoon that happened to be like live action. Like that was the first superhero movie that put some class into
100%, and it kind of set the template for a lot of stuff that came after. And but Superman 2 is still an incredible film. I mean, just everything about that. The villains, like you just feel like there's something. There's some stakes. The stakes are high in the movie, and you get skin in the game right away. You're invested, and that's what I love about. And it's great the way they start off with banishing them to the Phantom Zone, and that's why a lot of people, when they think back on Superman 1 and 2, they confuse the two.
Yeah,
you're like, oh yeah, Superman 2 was great, or Superman 1 was great, and then you're like, oh man, Superman the movie is so fucking shitty compared to Superman 2. Like,
okay, if you think so,
it's not that it's shitty. It's not that it's shitty. It's just that
there's some beats that are totally missing when it comes to your usual blockbuster. But for what it's worth, apparently the Gauntlet, when he goes to meet Lex Luthor and is going underground with machine guns, apparently it was supposed to be much crazier. But they're like, yo, tone it down. There's kids watching this.
That I'm sure there was a lot of people that had their hands in that. But either way, you can relive them now on 4K. So go check out the box set. It is really worth having. Okay, let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. Shift in another universe, a Marvel universe. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We got to see it. We've talked about this before. Superhero fatigue is real.
Not to me. I'm always going to remember the drought.
But it's real in the sense that it exists for a lot of people.
For a lot of people, I'm saying not me. I'm like, I'll watch whatever.
But it exists, and a lot of people are talking about that because unless you're really, really invested, like we are, where we want to see these stories, some people have kind of fallen off. So, and again, we're talking about the big story arc that ended with Thanos, and now trying to start up again with Kang. That looking at a whole set of problems right now. But as a standalone film, what I've always loved about Guardians. When I mean standalone, I mean the Guardians themselves standalone. I've always loved what James Gunn's done with this superhero team. Yeah, I think that the what's going on in this film is exactly what you would expect from a Guardians movie.
Absolutely,
it's fun. It tugs at the heartstrings. There's stuff inside the film that really surprised me in terms of like grabbing me emotionally.
Yeah. Well, it's no spoiler to know that this movie is essentially about Rocket and an attempt to save him. Like it's in the trailers, it's advertised. It's not a surprise by now, people. We won't say how or what or whatever, but I will say though that the emotional core of this film, when it first begins and there's just some punching, to me, I'm like feeling what you're feeling, like almost like reading the room empathetically. We're in a room full of critics and I can feel, oh, is this all it's going to be? But then there's like a turn, like someone turned a nozzle and all of a sudden this movie has a stake that you would regret going to the bathroom to miss a minute of. And
exactly.
And I wasn't even with my people. You know what I mean? Like, when you watch Endgame and it feels like a stadium full of nerds watching Captain America pick up a fucking hammer and you're like, oh my God, holy shit. I'm like, there was none of those moments except me and you kind of giggling to each other. But I could imagine what it's going to be like when people see what happens in Rocket's past and how Melissa my wife would have been tearing her seat out of the theater.
Oh yeah.
Throwing it at the screen based on the cruelty that Rocket has endured in his life, making him the hard pressed hero that doesn't trust anybody but his tree buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. So all that, and you know, it's fun because you've come to a couple of these screenings with me in the morning, and you see what I've had to endure when it comes to seeing most of these films. I have not been able to see them with my people, and when I have gotten to go to a promo screening with 350 Marvel fans, it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
But I was not disappointed, and in Marvel's defense, the last two films, Ant-Man and this one, I've really enjoyed.
Me too.
So I've got no qualms with what's going on right now. But I really loved this film. I've always liked the Guardians. To me, the Guardians were it was the first gamble that Marvel really took after all the sure bets. And I remember when they first announced it, I was like, wow, that's ballsy, because you're actually going to go to a team that nobody knows. Nobody knows these characters. And now look at it now. I mean, people are just so excited about just the prospect of Guardians. So yeah, I thought it was good. The music was phenomenal. You and I were air drumming and air bass playing and air guitar playing when that Faith No More, We Care a Lot song came into play, which I thought was great.
I'm very familiar with it.
I know you are, because you edited the video, but when we did that Kings of Quarantine cover, but
I'm more familiar with the cover than I am with the original. So this time I was actually listening a lot. I'm like, so what does he vocally do here?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh wow, Frank Bello really played that well. So it's the use of music is great, which has been kind of the touchstone of all of the Guardians films. Like, their use of music has always been special, and it continues in this movie, which I thought was great. And you know, the fact that this movie took so long to come out, had so many complications.
Wow. No, the movie itself.
No, but I'm saying
Superman 2 problem where they hired their director midway through.
It had a lot of hurdles.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that went wrong in terms of decisions that were made that a lot of people didn't agree with. And just on that alone, the fact that we got Guardians 3, the fact that the story's sewn up, I don't want to give anything away, but there are some characters that it just seems like they're set to where Guardians is going to go from now on, post James Gunn. And it seems like everybody's good with everything. But you and I were talking after on the Metro that I feel that James Gunn really took this opportunity to say, okay, you guys fucked with me.
Yeah.
You guys are the big corporate power. You had me come back because fans were demanding it. The cast was demanding it.
Yeah.
It had to happen. I came back. But in the meantime, I took a job at the competition.
Yep.
And I'm going to make it my mission to fucking bury you. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm feeling. It's like, and I think naturally anybody that would go through what James Gunn went through would have that chip on the shoulder where, in a very classy way, I'm going to show you. And I think that's what's going to happen with the launch of the new DC, and with James Gunn being, who James Gunn is. I think he's one of these guys that always cheers for the underdog. He is one of the underdogs. So when you come from that and you become a top dog and you're able to call some shots, there's no doubt that you're going to have some of that, punk rock ethic in your work and that attitude. And I think he's going to go to DC and he's going to take his time, like he is now, rebuilding everything. And I think he's going to be the guy that's going to give them a run for their money. And at the same time, this is my prediction, when DC is building and this whole new universe is happening and it's at the height of its popularity, he's going to be the guy that's going to go to Marvel with the olive branch and go, let me help you guys out. Let's do a crossover. That's what's going to happen, I think. What do you think?
I think so too. I think I think it would be wise to do it after some world building. It's interesting, like, in all the respect in the world for Kevin Feige, who got the rights back to the X-Men and Fantastic Four and didn't immediately make their Batman v Superman. It's like, let's put them all in something at once. We finally have their rights. It's just like, no, we have a plan. Let's finish that plan.
100%.
Let's make the X-Men and Fantastic Four properly. Let's not sandwich everybody in for the sake of it. And I think that's kind of the pacing, almost like the Jedi-like pacing that should have been DC's way of going. They were kind of in a rush. They just saw it as competition.
Yeah.
DC at this point, they're like, especially James Gunn is like, he's like, we have like 600 characters, right? And they're not all Batman and Superman. And when I saw the launch of, I know they are making he's making a new Superman movie, which I'm very interested to see, actually, a mix of comedy, heroics, deep emotional stakes like we just saw in this film.
Well, like these Superman movies.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, good point. I think James Gunn is going to bring a voice to the DC universe, that he already has with Peacemaker. Peacemaker's one of my favorite things ever. I love Peacemaker. Yeah. Love it. I'm trying to imagine Superman being kind of honored with a similar lens, because James Gunn's Superman is going to be saving puppies from trees, but he's also going to punch the crap out of Brainiac, because that's what James Gunn does. Right. So in this, getting back to the Guardians of the Galaxy, this movie, it's really lovely to see different shades of everybody, because the Gamora we all know and love died in Infinity War, but this is a one from a different timeline who doesn't know them and isn't friends with them, and they look at her and they almost like a friend with amnesia, but not, or having a new girlfriend that looks like the old girlfriend. You want to feel this way about this one, but she's like, I don't know you. I look like who you think I look like, but I don't know you. Yeah. Zoe's performance was awesome. Like, I was really thinking about this later. I'm like, really, really cool how she's playing on you see the ice melting a little bit, but it's not instantly gratifying, and it might not even be the way that you want it to go down. It's not the Disney way. So many things about this movie is not the Disney way, and I think that's very refreshing.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
There's certain lines in this movie that I don't want to give away, but Mantis has so much to do in this movie too.
yeah, she's great.
And Mantis and Drax now remind me of like a kid detective team. That when they go and solve problems, it's like the big kid who is so big he doesn't know how to be 8 years old in his big body, and then the funny little sister character that ends up saving the world. Like, it's even though that's not the case here, I'm thinking of Monster Squad. It's just really interesting to see so many people have so many things to do in this movie, and it doesn't seem all the characters from first to third movie, they all belong and they all feel like they should have been there, and it's really nice to know that a movie with so many characters, nobody is just a plant in the background.
Yes. Now, there are a couple of characters that are introduced, if you will, not introduced, but are here for the first time. Adam Warlock is in the film. Is that a spoiler?
No. That's been kind of like teased for a little while.
Yeah, but it's not a spoiler, right?
No, it's not.
Okay. So Will Poulter plays him. If you don't know who Will Poulter is, Will Poulter he's been in lots of stuff, but where he really, really shined for me was in Midsommar.
I didn't even know he was in Midsommar. I've been following that guy since he was a kid. That sounds weird. That sounds weird to say out loud. I've been following his career since he was a kid.
And waiting for him outside.
And he blew me away in this movie called Son of Rambo. And it was a really cool movie about these two little kids that saw Rambo in the 80s, and they're trying to recreate it with home video cameras. And he plays one of the guys that has no friends, and he is really just antisocial. He's amazing. And then he was in Voyage of the Dawn Treader in the Narnia series. He played Eustace. He was in that movie Meet the Millers, I think it was called, with Jason Sudeikis.
I remember that.
This guy crushes. Everything he's in, he crushes, and he's amazing at it. And he's just an awesome actor. I was really glad that he's part of Marvel, because whatever they do with him in the future, I'll watch that guy read a phone book.
Yeah. No, he was well cast. But I think fans of Adam Warlock who know the character,
they're going to say he's underused.
He's going to say he's underused, and they're going to say, what the fuck? What a waste. Kind of like they did, in Star Wars, like with Captain Phasma. With Boba Fett. Like, they've always said that. So this could be one of those times where fans are going to go, why? But cool stuff nonetheless. But there's a great antagonist. There's a history between the antagonist and Rocket. There's a lot of stuff. So I don't want to go into spoiler territory at all, because I just want it to be like our thoughts on the film. And I think we're both in agreement that it's definitely worth seeing on a big screen.
It is worth seeing in a theater that is comfortable. It is like a 2.5 hour movie. I've seen a lot of these big movies recently. I go to Cavendish Mall. It's got these reclining seats. It's very nice. I will say I'm going to watch this again in my favorite theater.
Yeah.
And I would recommend a theater, and I would recommend just like losing yourself and like truly like this is James Gunn's last Marvel thing ever, ladies and gentlemen. So, just go say goodbye to your friends, essentially.
Yeah. No, you're right. And it does kind of feel like that in a way that you're not saying goodbye, but that it's the end of something. You feel like it's the end of something. And it is bittersweet. It's very bittersweet. I left the theater feeling that way. I was like, oh man, I don't know how I feel about this. Like I love the movie, but I kind of feel sad that there's not the possibility of milking this forever. When when something's good, you're just like, oh please, I want this to go on and on and on. And you don't feel like that, which is funny because most Marvel films leave you with that feeling of like, oh man, like this could go on. Like we love these guys, and this doesn't feel like that. There feels like there's somewhat of an end to it. So
I think it's a great third movie. Marvel has good tracks with good third movies, like Captain America: Civil War. That's a great third movie. No Way Home is a great movie. Like Marvel, Iron Man 3, Thor Well, I'm not as big into Iron Man 3 as I am as the other ones, but Thor Ragnarok was a great third movie. They have a really good third movie luck. Infinity War was the third movie. It's
Listen, I'm a big Marvel fan. I love most of the stuff that they've done, if not almost all of it. I don't piss on it ever. And the reason why I bring up, superhero fatigue is because it is something that is real with a lot of people, but not for me.
I feel like because we're in the room with the critics. Like, if you're an empathetic person, you could read the room.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. All right. So definitely go check out Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It is a fun movie. It's in theaters today. Thanks to Disney Canada for inviting us. We appreciate it. Thanks to all of you for watching the Rockman Power Hour. Thanks to our sponsor, Heartbeat Hot Sauce. Use our promo code Rockman20. Get 20% off your entire order. Thank you to Studio House Designs for always making me and Ryan look somewhat passably decent looking. Thanks to AKG, and thanks to all of you. Thanks to our producer, Julia Kajerski, my co-host, Ryan Stick. And please like, subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you want us to cover, what you want us to talk about, and we will see you soon on the Rockman Power Hour.